To the eagle that looks for more prey. There are many Hollywood films that have miseducated the people of the American and European continent, from generation to generation. Films so superficial that have good box office for showing a moral of kindergarten. But in the end they are only entertainment, such as the most typical of all Pretty Woman. The sad thing about this movie, is that these stories are lived every day in real life in many countries of the world, and I say it is sad. Where they extol a prostitute who meets the typical white trash prince who saves her from the streets, changes her look, and with the look suddenly her manners. The sad thing about this movie, is that these stories are lived every day in real life in many countries of the world, and I say it is sad.
Not because the prostitute of the movie came out of the streets and already dresses like a princess.
But in real life the endings of these princesses and these charitable knights-errant are not as happy as in the Hollywood stories. Social disease. We tend to justify many social cancers. Prostitutes and or gigolos will always be people who are looking for the easiest and most immediate things. The alcoholic will always be an alcoholic. Even if he/she has quit for a while. Structures in consciousness are not changed by self-help books or university courses. They are people who have the art of lying. It is the modus vivendi, a baggage under the fear carpet. My grandmother used to say, a tree that grows crooked never straightens its branch. As a society, we are full of fairy tales, like dogmas of princesses being held captive by dragons and saved by handsome princes. Sadly, in real life, many of these handsome princes cannot even save themselves from their own existential deficiencies. And they look for people who are like-minded in their emptiness and existential holes, or people/nurses, doctors who can get them out of these emotional labyrinths. A simple law of resonance that ends in dramatic dissonance and suffering. They spend years deceiving other people and themselves, in the midst of infatuations that take the lifetime of themselves and those who insist on believing them. Let us wake up. It is easier to catch a liar than a thief. A person who sells himself for money does not do it because he simply cannot find a job. He does it because she prefers to be a merchant of themselves because they have not developed a powerful craft, nor his gifts and talents. They are incapable of loving himself and serving in mutual love, in synergy. Same for the one who buy companion. Addictions are the results of having no other choice. There is no other choice if we are not able to discover the creativity in ourselves and recreate ourselves in personal evolution. Like a masked gigolo, in the film with Dustin Hoffman, they are there to lie to the lady, and at the beginning to pretend that the lady he is accompanying looks like a goddess to him. Thus serving as a placebo and raising her self-esteem. At the end when he no longer needs her, he slap her and even tell her all what he really thinks about her, and is not nice. Then she decided to get lots of aesthetic surgeries and deform her face with no turn back. And she ends up in a daze of drugs and alcohol, older and more damaged than before. Buried in debt. Yes, feeling like the victim being used. It is sad to know that there are people who pay in different ways to feel loved, but when someone really loves them, they don't value it. Rest on lies the mental illness. They don't identify love, because they didn't learn to love and maybe they weren't loved by someone. People pay to receive comfort as simple placebos. A life with lack, a life without inner work. They work the body for hours daily in gyms, they go to the hairdresser, makeup and manicurist, they are experts in fashion and accessory brands. That is frivolity and that is too much of inner poverty. Bob Marley was once asked about wealth. He answered with a question, what do you call wealth? And then Bob Marley spoke about inner wealth. Superficial people are the most miserable of all. They buy happiness with a Gucci bag or a trip or an invitation to an expensive hotel. But they can never connect with themselves, let alone with others. That's why they look for external bridges. They lack internal connections and laugh, while inside they are really crying. They are the typical people who smile when they tell you something that makes them uncomfortable. It is a quite typical bodily reaction of people who cannot express what they really feel. A visible sign of narcissism that you have to watch out for. They love money and have canons of beauty. When they have a financial problem they collapse into paranoia or panic. Because money is everything to them, with it they can buy sex, companionship, joy and the comfort they craved as children. It is the most important thing that is worth for these people. Spirituality, they don't have a single clue what that nectar means. They think it is going camping in the forest, listening to new age music or doing yoga on the beach while smoking marijuana, and they say to themselves, don't worry, be happy. Every little thing it's gonna be alright. And so from generation to generation we are selling ourselves body and soul in exchange for fatuous beauty, we are buying people based on hypocrisy and lack. We are negotiating the desire and the power, until we blind ourselves and live on autopilot. We are becoming polluted in company and in solitude like birds of prey and sometimes like carrion beasts. Working towards prey in the form of profit. It is up to you alone. You choose to be a cardinal of the snow or to be the one who with anything furry goes happy. To explain it better about dystopian life I share the following poem by Vivi Francis. Tilda Healing Creativity.